All right, hello there. Do I have your permission to record this interaction to share with your professor?
Yes, sir. You have my
Great,
permission.
great, thank you very much. If you would like a copy of our privacy notice, you can download it from our website, mursion.com/privacy notice. All right, so let's talk about the logistics of your session. So you are going to have around 15 minutes in the simulator to run this scenario. Now, at the end of the simulation, I'll return to guide you in a reflection of your experience. Now, if at any point you feel overwhelmed or you feel you cannot continue the simulation, feel free to say pause simulation. I will then return to address any concerns that you may have. Now, for all of our lovely high school students, they can all write, they can raise their hands, they can participate in a pair and share. However, if you do ask the students to do something outside the limitations of the program, so things like giving a group response or giving a thumbs up, an avatar will respond by saying, the principal says, and reference that they cannot do that action. That's basically just your cue to keep going. Finally, if there are any technical problems, you can just ask for me, Michael, and I will be sure to return and address them. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
All right, great. So my question for you is, what is your selected intensity level today? Will you be doing a low intensity or a medium intensity?
Let me start off with low. My plan is to after I get this first round or this first run through to try this same situation again, so that way I kind of have a better idea what to expect, and I'll kind of raise up the intensity the next time.
Wonderful, sounds good. Yeah, we would definitely recommend that if this is your first experience with immersion and a simulation like this, to start off at a low. Great. Any final questions before we get started?
Am I able to I created kind of a rough one, but I created a little bit of a PowerPoint to sort of go along with what I'm going to talk about. Am I allowed to share my screen like that?
Unfortunately, we do not offer a screen sharing option.
No worries.
Okay, great. All right, so let's get started. So as soon as you see the avatars appear, your simulation will have begun. Good luck, and we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Hello, class.
Hi. Hi, how are you?
I am doing good. My name is Miss March, and I want to just welcome y'all here. What I figure we do before we get into some classroom expectations is I just kind of go around and just kind of get an idea of who each of you are. So, for instance, my name is Miss March, as I've said, and I am currently a teacher here at your school. My favorite things include video production and photography. So this is just a couple things about me. Stephanie, why don't you tell us a couple things about you?
Sure, yes. All right. Well, hi. My name is Stephanie. I do a lot of things. I'm on cheer squad. I'm on the debate team. I hang out with my friends. I do a lot.
Awesome. Okay, Jordan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, hi. Um, my name is Jordan. Um, I don't know what do you want to know?
Um, what is your favorite color?
My favorite color is, I guess, green.
Green. Green is a good solid color. I like that. Thank you for introducing yourself. Okay, what about you, Sierra? Why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, hi. Hello. Hello, ma'am. My name is Ciara. Um, Something about me is that I really like anime.
Awesome. I know anime is like a whole different world. I know a lot of friends who feel like that. So that's interesting. Thank you for sharing. And how about you,
Yes.
James? Why don't you introduce yourself to the class?
Oh, hey, what up? My name is James. I'm a DJ on the weekends. I'm trying to petition, honestly, like, quick announcement. I'm trying to petition to DJ for prom. So, like, if everyone wants to jump on that bandwagon, like, in all honesty, that would be, like, really, really helpful. So, yeah, just, like, quick announcement. But, yeah, I'm James.
Awesome. That is awesome. I will definitely we'll have to hear you DJ sometime so we can recommend you for prom. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Angela? Why don't you tell us something about you?
Okay. I'm Angela. I don't know. I like video games or whatever.
Video games are fun. I've never been a video game person because I'm really bad at it, but I've liked video games. They're a fun thing. So now that we've kind of established who we are, I figured now we'll get into some classroom expectations. I know first day back at school can be a little nerve-wracking. You're trying to figure out how the teacher is or what is their expectation. So to start off, I figured I'd go through some classroom procedure. And I'll stop after each little thing to see how y'all are feeling. As far as classroom procedure, what you're going to expect when you walk through the class every day is we're going to start off with the first 5 minutes. We're going to do some bell work. And like your bell work assignment could be anything from like, tell me how your weekend was, or like, I just now tell me something interesting about yourself, or it might be a specific question. And it's like I said, you'll have 5 minutes at the beginning to do that. Then we'll transition to our lesson where we might have some classroom activities. And then we'll end with just kind of an assignment. And most of the time, like you'll have like at least 15 minutes in class to work on it. And then you might have some homework, but typically I try to give you time in class to get stuff done so you don't have to worry too much about homework. I know you all each have very busy lives. And if you're anything like me, when I leave the school, the last thing I want to do is also have to go back and try and remember what we talked about. So does that sound good for each of you? Does that sound like a good process?
Yeah, you get it, like the second I leave school, I don't really want to think about school when I'm done,
Mm-hmm. You're here Monday through Friday at least 8 to 3, let alone your extracurriculars. So we definitely we want to try and just utilize as much time as we can. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to transition to kind of an overall theme that I really just want to make sure I get across is my number one rule is for us to be kind to each other. I've been in situations where there was some bullying, both as a teacher and sometimes as a student on that opposite side. And bullying is just, it's not a fun thing. And so I really I want us all to be kind to each other. So have any of you had any experiences with bullying or have you observed anything? Angela, do you have any experiences with bullying?
Oh, I mean, in terms of like being bullied.
It can be either being bullied or it can be just observing, just anything you're comfortable with sharing.
Well, I mean, not really a ton. And I mean, my friends are all nice. I mean, in terms of people bullying other people, I mean, you might want to ask Stephanie and her friends, honestly. Excuse me, what what is that supposed to mean? I mean, all of my friends are super nice. Yeah, I don't really know about that, Stephanie. Okay, that was uncalled for.
This is a good example of my rule: be kind to each other, because really that it's really really easy to slip into a being mean. Like Angela, for instance, when you were talking, you probably didn't set out to throw some shade or to be mean to Stephanie, but how easy it was to slip into that and say something that was really hurtful. And what you said really hurt Stephanie. And sometimes everyone thinks of a bully as someone who purposely comes in and is mean to someone, but sometimes it's by accident. Sometimes we're just telling a joke that we didn't really mean to hurt someone, or sometimes it's just making an offhanded comment. And so we definitely, when we go to further talk to each other, let's not throw stones at each other. It's okay to have a conversation, but let's not accuse each other. But then also, let's learn from this. And so thank you both, for Angela and Stephanie, for being willing to talk about this. I know bullying can be uncomfortable, especially when there's so many different kinds of bullying. So thank you. Is there anything else that anybody wants to add? Okay, that's totally fine. We'll go ahead. Oh, yes, Sierra, you got something?
Oh, I just wanted to say, ma'am, that I really like what you said about, the intention behind words.
Oh, yes. Words are very, very powerful. And that is something that is going to be a theme in our future readings, because words have, like, you can make or break somebody with your words. You can say something that could build them up and make them go about and change the world, or you can say something that's ultimately going to hurt them or make them go and hurt others. Because that's the one thing about bullies is a lot of times hurting others. Ultimately, inside, they're hurting also. And the only way they know how to deal with that is by hurting others. And so if we can break the cycle with our words, using kind words, then we can really avoid a lot of hurt in the end. So thank you, Sierra. I'm glad you brought that up. So we'll go ahead, and our next thing I wanted to talk about is learning styles. Now, as you can tell, I'm very flamboyant. I like to talk a lot, and so for some people that works. Some people like that lecture style, but some people like more activities, but then others might like that mixture. So I wanted to go through and see, like, how do you learn best? Like, the only person who can really advocate for how you learn is you. So Jordan, how do you learn best?
Oh, I guess, like, I don't know, like activities are cool.
Activities, they keep you engaged?
Yeah.
Awesome. How about you, James? How do you learn best?
Oh, I mean, I like when we're all like talking together, like a group. Like, I feel like in all honesty, like when we're all sharing ideas and stuff, like that's when it's honestly like kind of like really, really good, you know?
So like when we go to read a book, you'd rather, instead of just reading it or instead of just answering questions about it, having a discussion together as a class about what we're reading, you'd
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I'll keep that in mind and I'll make sure we incorporate some of that. How about you, Angela? How do you learn best?
Honestly, I mean, I learn best just kind of on my own.
On your own? You're an independent learner?
Yes.
So that I'll make sure then that not only do we have some group activities, but we also can have some independent work. Because I've been there too. In fact, sometimes group work can be stressful because then you've got to think, how do we do this evenly? And it never fails. There's always one person who does more work than the other. So I'm right with you, Angela. I do like some independent work. Okay, how about you, Sierra? How do you learn best?
Well, ma'am, I think that I learn best when I'm studying for a test.
Okay, so providing you some personal access to materials. So, like, would you benefit if I go to do a discussion and I've got a PowerPoint? Would you benefit if I printed it off for you to look at and study?
Oh, yes, ma'am. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Hey, I'll make sure then when we have tests that I provide a study guide and give you access to any resources. And then how about you, Stephanie? How do you learn best?
Well, I think that like there's a bunch of different ways that I kind of learn. Like I kind of like doing stuff like on my own and like reading and answering questions and stuff, but also I like discussions because like sometimes you read something and then you have no idea what it is, but then when you're talking about it in a group, like other people can answer the question, maybe one you didn't even like think about, you know? So I feel like that's like really, really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you like that mixture. So then you're gonna like everything we do then because we'll have a little bit of everything.
Yes, you bet I am.
Awesome. Okay. Well, then that leads me to our next thing. I wanted to set some expectations. Discussions. We mentioned, James mentioned he likes the discussion style, and Stephanie also likes a little bit of the discussion style. And so when we have discussions, the main thing is when we're in a conversation like this, there's nothing wrong with contributing to it, but like if you are going to make a comment that has nothing to, or if you're going to make a comment that maybe is different than what we are talking about, then raising your hand is always the best way to go about that. Because then I can take a break, or I can find a pause and we can address your question. But in a natural conversation, it's really, really good to, you have freedom to contribute. But also when we have these discussions, like I said earlier, let's make sure not to demean the other parts. So, do you have any questions about how we do discussions?
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, like, obviously when we're all, like, talking together and stuff, like, it doesn't make sense for us to, like, raise our hand, like, when we're, like, you know, talking in a group when, like, you know, doing student work and stuff. But yeah.
Exactly, just like you did now. I asked a question, you didn't have to raise your hand. And I also feel like this helps you because you guys are 11th graders. You guys are getting ready to graduate in about a year or so. And so, you know, when you become this adult, you know, you got to be able to have a good discussion without it getting ugly, without it getting too chaotic. So I really feel like having discussions like this is really going to prepare you for life after high school. And that's another thing I do want to add, just as a little tidbit. If there is ever anything that maybe I'm covering, or maybe there's a way that I'm covering it that either you're not getting or it's just not connecting with you, feel free to like give me some feedback. You know, ultimately, I'm here to help you learn. So if you feel like you're not learning something, you have complete freedom to bring it to my attention, and I'll do my best to adapt to whatever your need is. Because like ultimately, I'm here to help you. So with that being said, our next thing I wanted to discuss some expectations for is the readings. So what are some things that maybe y'all are hoping that we get to read? And this is a discussion, so feel free to chime in. Here, to make it easier, I'll go and I'll ask some specific people. Okay, Angela, what are some readings that you'd like to?
Like some books that I want to read.
Like what are some things you're hoping we get to read together as a class?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
what are some things you're interested in?
I mean, I like books that are about, you know, like science and stuff.
Science and things. Oh, so do you like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein?
No, not like science fiction, like ecology and like, you know, biomes and different environments. That's what I just like reading about those.
Got you. Okay. Well, I'll try to, when I go to select some readings, to have some sciencey things. I don't want to get too much into the terminology because I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to science, you're probably gonna know more than me. I'm not a huge science person. I'm an English person, and so, but I'll try and find something that piques your interest in that ecology stuff. And James, I saw you had your hand up. Oh, thank you.
All right. Hi there. Welcome back. That is going to be your 15 minutes. Thank you so much for participating in the simulation.
Okay.
So for the next few minutes, we are just going to reflect a little bit on your experience and how you felt your lesson went. So how do you think your students are feeling after your lesson?
Well, I'm hoping that they're feeling comfortable. I know that I've been in classes where teachers are very like they're just not very welcoming, and so you almost feel like you're on edge just because like they like that silence and but then I've also been on the flip side where it's so crazy that nothing gets done, you don't have their attention, and so I'm hoping that they feel comfortable to contribute, but they also like don't feel like that they are like they can just be crazy. Like we obviously like we can contribute and we can talk, but as long as it's relevant to what we're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. And from what I was able to observe, it looked like you had a really good, a solid structure of where your lesson was going, and it was a pretty open
And I was like,
dialogue. Go ahead.
Mhm.
What were you gonna say?
I had my slideshow open on the side, even though I couldn't share it. Like I wanted some just to keep me kind of in an order, so I didn't look too disorganized. But that's kind of how I usually have. Like I've learned not to be too organized. My first lesson, I talked a lot, so I tried to not talk the whole time, but also we're setting expectations, so I tried to at least have some feedback. Like, did I do a good job having that balance of me talking, but also them contributing?
Yeah, from what I saw, it looked like you were asking a lot of probing questions, asking specific questions, general feedback, and kind of observation. Seemed like there was a good mix of questioning for your class. So, if you had the chance to do this again, is there any part of your lesson plan that you might change?
I would, because I know that there is a time constraint. Like for whatever reason, in my mind, I thought I had 30 minutes. I feel like I would change the pacing of it, and then also, which if I could share my PowerPoint with them, it would be a lot more visually appealing. But of course, they couldn't see it, so it's not a big deal for this. But I feel like I would be more thoughtful in some of the questions. So like making sure I have questions to ask that does engage them and doesn't feel like I'm just kind of fishing for an answer.
Right, right, absolutely. So, my last question for you is, what is one thing you're taking away from this experience that you can use the next time you face a similar situation in real life?
Um, Definitely in the when it was Stephanie and Angela. At one point Angela kind of made a dig at Stephanie, and Stephanie was very defensive about it because it really hurt her. And I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to confrontation, I hate confrontation. But the one thing I've taken away from it is there's always some way to spin something that, because even though you can't plan for everything, there's always some way to spin it to where it makes it relevant to discussions. And so definitely like that's one takeaway. And then another takeaway is like when I came into this, I was so nervous. I didn't think I'd do very good. But like once I got in there, it was kind of natural. I was able to read other students. And so another personal takeaway is that like I can do this.
Wonderful. That's a great thing to take away from your experience, and always fantastic and inspiring to hear on our end. Well, with that being said, that is going to be our time together. So, Rolinda, thank you so much for participating. Since you chose to record today's session, you'll be able to access your video by returning to the Mursion portal where you originally scheduled your session. So, thank you so much again, and have a great day and the rest of your week.
Thank you, you too.